Today we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting rational numbers. Remember, your rational numbers, those are fractions and decimals that stop. So for some examples, uh, those are like 1/2, 0.6. Those are your kind of examples of rational numbers. Some key things to remember for adding and subtracting fractions is first, you want to find your least common denominator. So you want to find the least common denominator. Your least common denominator. The second is that you want to write equivalent fractions based on those least common denominators. And just a quick little review that LCD means least common denominator. Your third step is to add or subtract depending on what your operation is in the problem. And then you're going to simplify your fraction as needed. That means you're going to reduce it to lowest terms, only if it's needed. And we'll get to that as I go through some examples. So let's say that we're given 7/8 and we have to add 3/4. Well, the least common divisor for 8 and 4 would be 8. Because 4 times 2 is 8, and so forth and so on. But most people find it easier just to multiply these two numbers together. So 8 times 4 is 32. That 32 becomes our new denominator for each of those fractions. So, since I have my 8 here, and I multiplied it by 4 to get 32 over there, since I multiplied the bottom by 4, I have to multiply the top by 4. 7 times 4 is 28. I multiplied 4 by 8 to get 32, so I have to multiply the top by 8. So 3 times 8 gives me 24. Now that I have a common denominator, I'm going to go ahead and add my numerators. Remember, do not add your denominators. You can go ahead and add your numerators together. You're simply just going to rewrite your denominator. So over here, this is my new denominator, 32. I'm going to figure out what 28 plus 24 is. So 8 plus 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. Plus 2 is 5. So that is 52. Now, 52 over 32 is an improper fraction. So we have to reduce that to lowest terms. I can divide both 32 and 52 by 4. 52 divided by 4 is 13, and 32 divided by 4 is 8. 13 over 8 is still an improper fraction, so we have to make it proper. We have to ask ourselves, how many 8s can we take out of 13? We can only take out 1, so the 1 becomes our whole number. Our new denominator is 8. 13 minus 8 gives us 5. And that becomes our new numerator. So 7/8 plus 3/4 gives us 1 5/8. as our answer. Let's look at one for subtraction. Let's say we have 16/27 minus 2/9. We're going to go ahead and find our least common divisor. 27 and 9. 27 can go into 9 because if 9 times 3 is 27. So 9 times 3 gives us 27. So our new denominators are 27. Since 27 was originally my first fractions denominator, I can rewrite my 16 numerator. 9 times 3 gave me 27, so I have to multiply the 2 by 3, so it gives me 6. Now that I have common denominators, I can go ahead and subtract my numerators. Remember, do not subtract your denominators. You can go ahead and subtract your numerators. So that means I'm going to subtract 16 minus 6, which is going to leave me 10. Rewrite my denominator of 27. I have to ask myself if that fraction is in lowest terms. 10 over 27 cannot be reduced anymore. So that one is in lowest terms. What if we have negative 2/3 minus negative 3 over 4? Wow. First things first. We need to find our common denominator between 4 and 3, which is 12. So for both fractions, my new denominator is going to be 12. 3 times 4 gave me 12, so I have to multiply 2 by 4. So negative 2 times 4 is a negative 8. Don't forget about that negative sign over here. 4 times 3 gives me 12, so I have to multiply negative 3 by 3. Negative 3 times 3 is a negative 9. Watch out for your negatives. Okay? So now we have negative 8 over 12 minus negative 9 over 12. If you struggle with negative numbers, remember to, you can go ahead and use your calculator. You can also rewrite it so it looks a little more clear for you, so you don't get a little confused. You can say negative 8 minus negative 9 all over 12. Remember, we put the negative inside parentheses because that tells us that it's not a second minus sign, that it is a negative number. So we can go ahead and put that in our calculator. We're going to have negative 8 minus negative 9. So pulling up my calculator, clearing whatever's in it, we're going to put in our negative 8 minus negative 9. So here's our negative 8 minus negative 9. Make sure that you don't get your minus and your negative buttons mixed up. Otherwise, you'll get a syntax error and you won't get an answer at all. When I hit enter, I get 1. So my numerator is 1 over my denominator of 12. Cannot reduce that anymore, so there's my reduced fraction. Now we're going to talk about adding and subtracting decimals. Just as there was some steps to adding and subtracting your fractions, we're going to go through the steps of how to add and subtract decimals. So first, you want to line up your place values, your decimal points. Make sure they're all straight up and down. Then you're going to add or subtract, depending on the operation in the problem. And then one thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you put your decimal place in your answer. Now your decimal is going to go right below where you lined up your decimal. So let's look at an example. Let's say I have 56.23 plus 5.978. My first step is to line up my decimals. So I'm going to write down my first number, 56.23. I have 5.978. The 5 is going to go underneath the 6. Line up my decimals. The 9 goes underneath the 2. 7 underneath the 3. Then you rewrite the 8. Now, some people find it easier when you fill in these blank spaces underneath or top numbers with zeros. Makes it easier so you don't accidentally add other numbers that you shouldn't. Helps with organization of those numbers. So starting from the right, I'm going to go ahead and add. So 0 plus 8 is 8. 3 plus 7 is 10. Write down your 0. Carry your 1. 9 plus 2 is 11. Plus 1 is 12. You're going to write down your 2. Carry your 1. 5 plus 6 is 11. Plus 1 is 12. Write down your 2. Carry the 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. Plus 0 still is 6. Your decimal for your answer is going to go right in line with the other decimals between the two 2's. They didn't tell us that we had to round to any specific place value, so we can go ahead and this is our answer. It's 62.208. So let's look at one with some subtraction. Let's say we're given 147.62 minus a negative 5.3. Now this one here is trying to trip you up. This is where you have to remember that a minus times a negative is a positive. So what this problem really is it's 147.62 plus 5.3. Don't let this little fact mess you up, okay? Be on the lookout for it. So now that we have our signs right, we're going to go ahead and write down our first number, which is 147.62. We're going to add our 5.3. The 5 is going to go underneath the 7. Line up your decimal, and then the 3 is going to go underneath the 6. So we're going to go ahead and add those together. Remember, if it helps you, go ahead and put zeros underneath those numbers that don't have a number underneath it. Any of those blank spots. And then go ahead and add. So 2 plus 0 is 2. 6 plus 3 is 9. 7 plus 5 is 12, so you're going to write down your 2, carry your 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. 1 plus 0 is 1. Your decimal for your answer is going to go right in line with the other decimals. So our answer is 152.92. Let's just try one with regular subtraction. So let's say we have 16.12 minus 2.785. Our first step is going to be to line up our decimals. So here's our 16.12. We're going to line up our decimals so the 2 goes underneath the 6. Here's our decimal lined up. 7 goes underneath the 1. 8 goes underneath the 2. And then we have a 5. We're going to subtract these. Again, you can go ahead and fill in those vacant spots with zeros to help organize your information a bit better. So starting from the right, 0 minus 5, we can't have negative numbers, so we're going to have to borrow. I'm going to borrow make this 2 a 1, and make this 0 a 10. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 1 minus 8 can't happen. So we're going to borrow from this one, make it a 0, make this an 11. 11 minus 8 is 3. 0 minus 7, again, will lead us to a negative number. That can't happen right now. So we're going to make this 6 a 5. Make this 0 a 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. 5 minus 2 is 3. And 1 minus 0 is 1. Our decimal is going to be right in line with the others. So it's actually 13.335 for our answer.